I can't believe my daughter just did me like this. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? CleanCutz the one, back with another video.
What's up, y'all? CleanCutz the one, reporting live from the house out here in beautiful Sevierville, Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville where my barber shop is. And I just wanted to take a second to come and talk to you guys about something that, I've been thinking about lately. And so just to give a recap, if you're not familiar with this channel or how this channel happened, what happened is, if you go back to my very first episode, I felt led, almost compelled to create a YouTube channel based on, I was going to be a barber. And so I documented my entire barber journey all the way through barber school up until now. I documented through coming into the barber shop. I documented, state board tests. I documented what it was like to be in the shop. I documented all the hair shows that I went to, all the plane trips, going to, the first time I met Chris Bossio and getting with Tomb 45. And every experience that I've had from sitting at the house with no clippers and no clients, I documented all of that because as I looked for these things online, I couldn't find them. So I created the content that I wanted to see when I was a student barber. And so throughout this process, I have learned so much about who I am. I was a student barber, and my wife was, she was working at Cracker Barrel, and she was taking care of our family. I was a stay-at-home father to a 6-month-old daughter when I started going to school. And so things have changed a lot. Now I'm a shop owner. I'm the owner of Tennessee Barber Expo. I'm a barber who has a full schedule, and we've got a brand, CleanCutz Grooming Lounge. And throughout the process of growing, I had just come to know Jesus right at the beginning of that journey. Like I asked Jesus to come into my life, and then I became a barber like almost after that. And so throughout going through this process, I've been able to put a lot of dependence on God and really let God remove some things from me that needed to come out and also make some deposits in me. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, you can see that the way that I talk is different. I have gone through so many seasons of development since starting to become a barber. There was a season where everything about the culture was like a priority to me, and those things have kind of fell to the back burner to where I'm in this place to where I'm focused on the function rather than the form. I don't really care what things look like as long as they work. Shout out to the Gamma X Evo, right? Great ergonomics, ugliest clipper I ever saw, but man, that thing fades so well. I don't care what it looks like. And getting to that place has been a process. It's been a process of evaluating our industry. It's been a process of evaluating, what are we doing? What are we responsible for? Because there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of people that want to look good in our industry, whether it's our clients, whether it's us to one another as barbers. But God has used so much of this industry and this process of growing from a student to being a shop owner and a leader in different aspects. And it's literally changed who I am as a person and how I think and how I flow and how I function, right? And that's because I've been submitted to the process. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have failed a lot. Like there's a lot of things in those 2 years, between my mother getting murdered, COVID-19, I'd failed as a shop owner with regards to different ways I was handling things. I was avoiding responsibility. I wasn't present. I was letting responsibility be on people that it didn't need to be on. And I had to make an admission to those things, and I had to say that, dude, I'm wrong. Like, you're doing this thing wrong. But having done that and having come through that and having addressed that, I have found who I am. I have found what's important to me. And what's important to me is not a pair of Yeezys. What's important to me is not making sure that I'm bumping and clicking with all the right relationships. What's important to me now is that I'm making those contributions into my community that I set forth to do from the beginning. What's important to me is that inside that I have peace and that I'm functioning as Tyler Trotter based on the experiences that I've had in my life and making sure that I'm living in accordance to what it is that I value. Making sure that I'm pleasing God above pleasing men. And a lot of times that means that I'm not actually in the spotlight. A lot of that work takes place from a secret place, from a closet, a place where I'm not getting a lot of exposure. And I'm okay with that. And so the direction that this channel is going to go, the direction that it's going to take is going to be of Believer Barber. Because that was a vision, that was a word that God had given me a long time ago about who am I? And I found that there's a whole gang, there's a whole nation of believer barbers out there who share similar testimonies. They share similar faith. They came from really, really difficult situations. It's almost a common thing now because this industry will pull you out of those things. People who came from difficult situations, and somehow this great and mighty God reached down and pulled them out of that situation, placed them in the barber industry, and has sustained them ever since and done completely miraculous things in their lives. And so I'm still going to be doing the reviews. I'm still going to be doing haircuts if that's what you guys want to see. Still going to be talking about the shop basics. Still going to be talking about the principles. But I'm going to be a lot more intentional about making sure that we understand the principles that are at play. I'm going to be transparent about some of the pride that's had to die in my life as I've gone through these processes. I'm going to be, I've talked about, it's easy to talk about the failures from your past and from your history, but what about the failures now? What about the failures last week? And so what that's going to do for not only you, but for me, there's a level of accountability that comes along with honesty and transparency. You can't keep identifying negative things and keep doing those things and expect that the results are going to be good. And so if you're on this journey with me and you've been from day one, then we're just going to keep trucking right along. We're not through growing. We've got a long way to go before we get to where we're going. And if you're just now locking in, I want to encourage you guys, go back to the beginning. Look at where this journey started. Look at the first video. Watch the journey through barber school. Look at the principles that were talked about as I went through school. Look at what it was like going to the shows. Look at the work that was put in. Look at just the contrast from the place that I had taken my life and then the place that God brought me to through this industry. I want you to know that if God did it for me, that He'll do it for you. And I want you to know that for me, that it's based on character. It's based on doing the right thing for the right reason. And it's about doing the right thing. But if somehow you fail to do the right thing and you do the wrong thing, it's about making the wrong thing right. And, it takes a special kind of person of good character to admit when they've been wrong and to come back around. But I'm telling you, there's something about the pain. There's something about going into the fire and getting burned, or putting your hand on the stove and getting burned. Because if you think about gold, right, like a bar of gold, it goes into the fire and that fire burns out the impurities. Diamonds are made by the pressure that's applied to the coal. It's about pressure and it's about fire. So we don't want to run away from that. We don't want to act like we've got everything together. We don't want to act like I'm some type of master splinter in this thing. I don't need any help. You've got it wrong. I've got it right. No. That's not me. That's not the formula for the measure of success that I've experienced. Are the bills paid? Yes, the bills are paid. But what's more important to me is that I have peace in my heart. No matter what happens, if COVID-19 shuts everything down, if the money dries up, if I can't pay my mortgage on my house and it all goes away, if all those terrible things happen, it's okay. I still know how to keep peace within myself. But the God that I serve and the people that He's put around me and the gifts that He's instilled in us gives us the ability to tap into something that's supernatural and allow God to do a work in us to where He provides for every need that we have. And a lot of times He uses this industry to do it. So that's just kind of where we're going to go with this channel, because I can't continue to do reviews and I can't continue to talk about where I'm going because God is so present right now. He is doing such a mighty work in marketplace ministry that I've just got to keep it 100 with you guys. And to be honest, there was a season where I was kind of embarrassed. I would talk about God, or I would give God credit to some degree for what he was doing, but it's become apparent now that I have got to reach out. There's a whole cast of people out there who, in their mind, they're contemplating things. I know that God is calling people from this industry. I know that he has got his hand on the hearts of men, and he is saying, I've got something special for you. And I'm here to confirm it. He does have something special for you. He does. And you're not by yourself in it, and we are going to connect. We are going to cast our nets, and we're going to bring in the harvest. We are going to see amazing things happen through this industry. And a lot of it's going to look like good haircuts. A lot of it's going to look like making good money. A lot of it's going to look like being a good barber and traveling the world and going to barber shows. A lot of it's going to look like some really attractive things. But what does it benefit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Right? So that's what we're doing with the Believer Barber Project. It's actually, the documentary is finished. Believer Barber Project, it's 5 episodes. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to release this thing. It's going all the way back to the beginning. You can see the trailers for the Believer Barber documentary in the comments. But this is where we're going. This is a live Believer Barber in function. So, I want to say shout out to all my Believer Barbers. And it might be a matter of time before this channel goes from CleanCutz to Believer Barber, because a name has a destiny attached to it. And so when I named my Instagram CleanCutz the One, 2015 THA and then the number 1, it's kind of corny a little bit. I was doing like a play on words. God told me that I was one, that he was going to do something special in. And so when I made that my Instagram, it was me saying, yes, God, do the thing that you want to do inside of me. And so he has fulfilled a measure of what he really put on my heart that he was going to do. And so now that he's given me the Believer Barber journey, we're going to continue on the Believer Barber assignment. So, I don't know who this made sense to. I'm only after one. If it made sense to one person, that's enough for me. So, I didn't mean to get all deep with you guys. Actually, I did. But I don't know who's going to watch this video, but I know the right person's going to watch it. Don't worry. We're going to still be doing the reviews. We're still going to do everything that we were doing before. But I've got to make sure that this gets in. It's too important. It's too important. I've met too many of you in the comments and the DMs, and I know that there's too many of us out there for us to not be connected, to come together and see our synergy make a difference, not only in this industry, but in the lives of our clients, in the lives of our peers, and in the world. So, yeah, man, that feels good. I needed to say that. If you sat through this long, man, I really appreciate you sitting through and listening to me just sit here and talk. That's where the channel's going. That's where my life's going. I just want to give a shout out to all my Believer Barbers. I appreciate you guys following. Like I said, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell. If you've been following from day one, we're just going to continue. If you've just now found the channel, trust me, it's about to get good. So till next time, peace.